It's in almost everything. You sit down for breakfast in the morning, you know what? It's in your Kellogg's cereal, your Pop-Tart, your Wonder Bread, your Smucker's jelly, your Skippy peanut butter, your Aunt Jemima syrup, your Oaker's chocolate milk for lunch. It's in your chips, your crackers, your Heinz ketchup, your Kraft dressing, your soda, and your Gatorade. For dinner, it's in your canned and frozen foods. It's in your candy, your ice cream, and it's even in that deliciously warmed microwave chocolate chip cookie you have from the school cafeteria every day. High fructose corn syrup, abbreviated as HFCS, is a revolutionary artificial sweetener, a highly processed chemical compound that can be derived from corn. It's in pretty much all processed foods in the supermarket, and that's a problem. You've probably heard of high fructose corn syrup before. In these past few years, it has been increasingly put into the spotlight, and the use of it in foods as an ingredient has been called into question. To understand why we are being overloaded with this artificial sweetener, we have to look back 43 years ago to a time when high fructose corn syrup was developed. It was first introduced in 1957, and by 1970, Japanese scientists figured out a way to mass produce it for industrial purposes. According to accessdata.fda.gov, in 1976, high fructose corn syrup was labeled generally recognized as safe by the FDA, and it's been used in our foods ever since. High fructose corn syrup became so popular for a few reasons. According to cornsugar.com, it maintains freshness and enhances flavors in foods and beverages. In addition, it's cheaper than traditional table sugar, as well as easier to produce and transport. On the contrary, high fructose corn syrup has received a lot of criticism in the past few years. In 2008, as a direct response to the negative criticism, according to the Wall Street Journal Europe newspaper, the Corn Refiners Association launched a colossal $20 to $30 million multimedia advertising campaign to reassure consumers that high fructose corn syrup is not dangerous, claiming that high fructose corn syrup is no different from table sugar and that it's fine in moderation. But think about that. What does that mean, fine in moderation? Anything can be fine in moderation. In some way, shape, or form, the highly toxic poison arsenic can be fine in moderation. But that doesn't mean it's safe or you should be putting it into your body. I was a young boy, like many kids my age. I was pretty wild. I couldn't stay focused or stay in my seat for more than a minute. In the 5th grade, my doctor diagnosed me with ADHD. Growing up, I ate a lot of junk food and processed foods and high fructose corn syrup. I took the pill for a while, but I didn't like that too much, so I avoided taking it whenever possible. Then my mom read a book that claimed diet and ADHD were directly related to one another. So I took high fructose corn syrup out of my diet, and my behavior changed dramatically. I was no longer crazy or bouncing off the walls, and I was able to focus in school. And that's how high fructose corn syrup affected me personally, although the true effects of exactly how the body reacts to processed foods compared to the real thing are still in debate. The Corn Refiners Association may advertise that high fructose corn syrup is fine in moderation, but again, it's in everything. As Time magazine put it, unless you're making a concerted effort to avoid it, it's pretty difficult to consume high fructose corn syrup in moderation. And in the graph I'm about to show you, it is a creation of the USDA, and it illustrates the overall average sweetener consumption per person in pounds per year from 1965 to 2007. Alright, zoomed up pretty close for some reason, but I'm just going to zoom in. Do what? Hit control minus this. Alright. So as you can see, this red line here is high fructose corn syrup, And then this is the top one is just all sugars combined. And this is like kilograms. So translated it's like pounds. So from 1970, about to the time when it was like created, to 2010, like notice how like it kind of rises pretty greatly, and like sugar, the blue line here, goes down quite a bit. And in these past few years, it kind of goes downhill because of all the criticism that it was received or given. All right, let's. And the second graph I'm about to show you comes from this collected from National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, and it illustrates the average weight increase from 1970 to 2005. All right, and in this graph, it shows you from 1970 to 2005, the average weight per person. And it went to about like 130 pounds to like 150 in that time period, kind of paralleling the amount of increase, the intake of high fructose corn syrup. There's kind of a connection there. In the 40 years since the introduction of high fructose corn syrup, rates of obesity have skyrocketed. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about 15% of Americans met the definition for obesity in America. Today, about 15% of Americans met the definition for obesity in 1970. Today, roughly 33% of American adults are considered obese. According to studies conducted by the Princeton University's research team, supported by the U.S. Public Health Service, led by Bart Hobel, a specialist in the neuroscience of appetite, weight, and sugar addiction, their findings support the theory that excessive consumption of high fructose corn syrup may be an important factor in the obesity epidemic, and that it may be addictive. Like the tobacco industry, the executives of the food industry deny these allegations that their product may be harmful and addictive. All in all, high fructose corn syrup is a sketchy food ingredient, and it should be avoided whenever possible because it's bad for your body. Maybe you don't have much control over what foods are available to you right now because you're not in charge of your grocery shopping, but eventually you will be. And it's important that you think not just about high fructose corn syrup, but everything that you put into your body. As consumers, we have the power to change what's in our food. Like any industry, the food industry will meet consumer demand, and we need to start demanding for real, wholesome foods. If you're still not convinced about the integrity of high fructose corn syrup, think about it. When was the last time you saw a commercial defending a tomato reassuring you it's safe?